Hey, in the previous episode of this series of this Playfield swap of the Scared Stiff, we washed the wire loom in the dishwasher, and in this episode we take that cleaned wire loom and reinstall it into the Playfield. Plus, I go through how the switch matrix work. Hope you find it helpful.
So literally just going through one by one, getting roughly the order of the plugs, plugging them in, and then I'll go back and tidy it all up and start to then get the loom in the stands. So I'm going to go off and finish that job off, and I'll come back and show you end up what I've done. Okay, so all of the general illumination has been screwed in. It was a lot trickier than I thought. When taking it out, it all looks the same and it's pretty simple. I probably should have taken more pictures. Everybody says you never have enough pictures, but got them in the end. Found a couple of key points which I had photographed and managed to work it all out, so that's good. I've put all the slingshot switches that I replaced in, and also these stand-up target switches, they've been in. Now I have replaced the four slingshot switches down here. I don't have spare ones for up here, and I have also got and replaced the stand-up target switch that sits behind the leapers, the frogs. So I've replaced this one, but what I have noticed on the ones that looked good, if we zoom in, the old one was a bit of a hack job, which someone had kind of cobbled together something. I managed to get one of them. I've got a couple on back order for the other sides, but what I did notice when I started to look at these, you'll see these are the original ones that have been, again, hacked in by the operator, is that there's no diode on the switch, and that's going to cause issues. So when I put the this one on the new switch, I made sure that we put the diode on. So why do you need the diode and how does it work? Well, on a switch matrix, and here's the old one that has no diode in place. So on these switches, what you find is you've got, the switch matrix is made up of 8 by 8 rows and 8 columns. So in this machine, all of the columns are green plus a trace color, in this case green plus a trace blue, and all of the rows are white plus a trace color, in this case also blue. So the purpose of the diode is to allow you to create a matrix and have up to 64 switches with only 6 sets of wires. And then a combination of each of those allows you to get to 64. And the diode stops the current from flowing back down the wrong way and therefore giving you a false registration of a switch. So how do you connect up a switch matrix switch? Well, you can find all the information in the manual, and you can see that it shows you, and I'll put a screen grab of this up, but it shows you those are the columns and those are the rows. It shows you the color, and up here it shows you which side is which, so how to do it. So effectively what you do is you connect the column, which is to the one side, in this case the green wire, then you connect a diode onto the tab that column connects with when the switch is closed, in this case the middle tab, and you put the banded side on that side on the tab that's connected to the column, which only when the switch is completed. And then on the other tab, which is really connected to nothing on the switch, it's effectively an insulated dummy tab to allow you to solder something onto. You put the non-banded side of the diode, and that's where you attach your row to. So the column goes on its own tab, the diode banded side goes onto the tab that connects to the column when the switch is closed, and the row gets attached to the non-banded side of the diode. And this tab here just means that you don't have to have a diode floating off into nothing. So that's why you have 3 tabs. But that's just a solder point, the third one. So I need to go and put a diode on, remove this switch, and connect this so that it's effectively working, because clearly this switch is damaged. I need to do a continuity check and just understand how that all is tied together. So I've got the multimeter out, and what you need to do is identify which of the little tabs we're trying to achieve. So this will beep when there's continuity. Okay, so if I touch this tab and this tab, and then push the switch, nothing happens. Okay, so this looks like the back one is the dummy one, and these are... Okay, so what we need to do is to hook up this wire, which is the row, onto the dummy with a diode, the non-banded side on this side, and then we'll put a diode between this tab, and we'll leave the green wire on here, but we'll take the hack out. So I'm going to go and do that quickly now, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done, but it's going to basically mimic the new one that I've done. And when I get, I don't know where the new one's gone, here it is. And when I get the new stock in, I'll replace that as well. But I'm going to go and replace that diode that's missing on this and get that. The implications of this is that you'll find that it will trigger falsely all sorts of things. When you hit the switch, it'll trigger more than one switch in the current form. And I've noticed that it's the same on this one, which is this leaper here, and the other leaper is the same. The diode is just gone. So I'll take care of that and get that all sorted. Okay, so I've removed all the hacks and re-soldered the diodes on all 3 of these target switches, whilst I wait for new ones on these 2. I'm going to have to make do with this. So again, I've got the column, which is on each of them, it's the same column. They're all on the green-blue column, which I believe is column 6. So it's column 6. You can again see that on the I think I'll put that on the screen on the matrix. So that's the green-blue, and then there's the row, which is on the non-banded side of the diode on each case. You've got white-blue, row 6, and so you just run across the matrix and go green-blue, white-blue is the right leaper, which goes in there, which obviously, and it's upside down, is the left-hand side. Then this is a bit more confusing because they're quite close to each other. You've got the yellow, white, and you've got green, white. And green, white is row 5. So that's the central leaper, that's this one. So the green, white is going to go in there. Let's get that in there now, so we don't forget. That's going to go in there. And that leaves the yellow, white row, which is row 4 into the left reaper. So I'm going to go and just screw those in, and that's the next thing done on the list. So I'll do the central leaper first. And this is one of the few times we're actually seeing a couple of extra holes on this Mirco Playfield. This driver, cottage driver, is the one, I've got 2 of them. One is magnetic and one's not. And the non-magnetic one drives me nuts. That's in place. I'll just go and do the other two now. Okay, so I'm just putting all the switches back on, the micro switches that I took out, and just like the stand-up targets that I did, effectively you have the switch with the diode, and you have a column and a row. In this game, the columns are all green and the rows are all white banded color. So in this case, white plus blue, and in this case, green plus brown. So if you're not sure which color goes on which, whip out the manual. Here we are this side, and it tells you this is switch number 16. Switch number 16 basically tells you that column 1, row 6. Okay, so you go over to the switch matrix in the manual, and you go across and you go 16, which is column 1, and then down to 6, and it's for the kickback, which is this here, okay? So you can see it is green brown and white blue. And the white blue goes on the non-banded side of the switch. So all you have to remember is band is on its own, non-banded goes on the rows, and the column is on its own. So that's it. So to do this, the column is just, it's on a little plug, so that's fine. I'm just going to start off by just getting a good bit of solder, fresh solder on here. Let me just cut it and start fresh. It's just so much easier than fiddling around with existing cables and wires. Just start fresh, it's easy. Twist it, tin it. Okay, a little bit of fresh solder on here just to make sure it's ready. There you go. Okay, so let's go back and redo a couple of the others. That's how you do a switch when you solder it back on. Really simple. That's it for this episode. Next episode, we hit the pop bumpers and reinstall those. Feel free to subscribe to make sure you don't miss any episodes or show your appreciation. Post any comments or questions below. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time.